Hello, everybody. My name is Dratnos, and welcome to our look at the Keeper of the Grove hero talent tree for Druids. This one is the Balance and Resto Druid shared hero talent tree, so they can both choose this, and each can also choose a different one as well, although not the same different one, as each other, if that makes sense. There's a handy little diagram up here that lets you see exactly what your choices are. By the way, tooth's still messed up for this video if you haven't seen any of my other hero talent tree videos, so please forgive the voice sounding a little different and the face looking a little either British or piratey or whatever, whatever you want to say there. Okay, so we have Dream Surge up at the top here. Force of Nature grants 3 charges of Dream Burst, causing your next Wrath or Starfire to explode on the target, dealing nature damage to nearby enemies, damage reduced above 5 targets. The other one is Grove Guardians, causing your next targeted heal to create 2 Dream Petals near the target, healing up to 3 nearby allies, and that also stacks up to 3 charges as well. So basically, you're going to have buttons that will be triggering Dream Surge effects, which is the main thing this tree is built around. It's quite different versions, though, right? Force of Nature and Grove Guardians are going to give you quite different. They're both presumably going to count and be interacted with by talents further down here. But yeah, that's our starter here. Treants of the Moon says your treants cast Moonfire on nearby targets about once every 6 seconds. About. What's about doing here? I guess maybe they're busy casting Wrath some of the time or something. So I don't know. Expansiveness here says your maximum mana is increased by 5%. Your maximum astral power is increased by 20%. By 20. Which I guess is 20% if you have 100 astral power, but increased by 20. Protective Growth says regrowth protects you, reducing damage you take by 8% while your regrowth is on you. This one is a sleeper talent node that is going to be big for high key pushing for Moonkins and Resto Druids that are playing this tree in high keys. Giving yourself an 8% DR is going to be big for surviving one-shots. But other than that, this is going to be something that it's mostly a pretty small impact talent in other contexts. Then we have some choice nodes. We actually have a lot of choice nodes coming up now. Up first is Power of Nature or Durability of Nature. Power of Nature says your Force of Nature treants no longer taunt and deal 20% increased damage, which is nice if you want to keep them around casting these Moonfires and stuff. The other one says your Grove Guardians increase the healing of Rejuve, Efflow, and Life Bloom by 5% while active, which, that's a decent chunk of your healing, so decent healing amp whenever you have Grove Guardians out. The other option is Durability of Nature. Your Force of Nature treants have 50% increased health and will still taunt as well, which that taunt is often a big piece of value. Although, if you're putting damage value into Force of Nature treants with Treants of the Moon, maybe you're not super happy using them to taunt anymore. But giving them extra health means they'll survive a little bit longer. The other option says Grove Guardian, the Resto version of this says your Grove Guardian's Nourish and Swiftbend spells also apply a minor Cenarian ward that heals the target over 8 seconds the next time they take damage. That one seems really nice. Cenarian ward is very powerful. It often does a lot of overhealing. The minor version of that might still be very powerful and just not do a lot of overhealing. And of course, it's extra hot for your mastery. So that one also seems pretty sick for, especially for smaller group content. Whereas Power of Nature is maybe for both Resto and Moonkin, maybe Power of Nature is kind of more of a raid default option, and Durability might be more of a high key pushing type button. Not sure. Cenarius' Might is not a choice node, it's just in the middle here, and it says casting Star Surge or Starfall increases the damage of your next Star Surge or Starfall by 10%, stacking up to 2 times. Casting another spell cancels this effect. So there's incentive here to just go Star Surge, Star Surge, Star Surge, right? Or Starfall, 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 which is a playstyle that sometimes is incentivized, sometimes is not, but if you're playing this, it is incentivized. The other option here is casting Regrowth, Wild Growth, or Swiftmend increases the healing of your next Regrowth, Wild Growth, or Swiftmend by 10%, stacking up to 2 times. Casting another spell cancels this effect. A weird one there for Resto Druid, yeah, but certainly something. I wonder if casting cat form and cat damaging abilities will matter for this as well, because I wonder if you could just do Wild Growths on CD and have them be 20% stronger, and then, just do cat form DPS and have that not break. I wonder. Then we have another choice node over here, Grove's Inspiration, which says Wrath and Starfire damage increased by 12%. That's a filler spell. Those are filler spells, so they're not actually that much of your damage. Or Regrowth, Wild Growth, and Swiftbend healing increased by 6%, which, again, is not all of your healing, but those represent more of your healing than Wrath and Starfire of your damage, but it's a smaller percent to make up for it. Persistent Enchantments is the other option on this one, which says Orbital Strike applies Stellar Flare for 20 seconds, and Primordial Arcanic Pulsar grants Celestial Alignment for 2 additional seconds. The other one says Reforestation grants Tree of Life for 2 additional seconds as well. So those are, a little bit extra value there on those sort of medium-term CD procky type effects. I don't know which of these is going to be better. My guess is that, well, actually, I have no idea what Moonkin's damage profile looks like, and for Resto's healing side of things, I would assume you'd want the passive Grove Inspiration side of things, although maybe 2 extra seconds of Tree of Life is going to be nice, but I would assume that one's Grove Inspiration generally for Resto. Okay, over here we have another choice node. Bounteous Bloom says your Force of Nature treants generate 3 astral power every 2 seconds. Another reason you're going to want them to live longer, and both Power of Nature and Durability of Nature will help you with that. Although with Durability of Nature and M+, they are still going to die, but getting some extra astral power, that's nice. Or your Grove Guardian's healing is increased by 20%. Grove Guardians do a lot of healing. Giving them more is a lot. The other option is cooldown reduction, either 10 seconds of cooldown reduction on Force of Nature or 3 seconds cooldown reduction on Grove Guardians, which is also nice. I would assume that this one is probably Bounteous Bloom for Moonkin, and maybe Early Spring for Resto, just so that you can keep getting this extra value out of having Grove Guardians out for a higher uptime. Although I guess you can already get pretty high uptime on those things, so yeah, I don't know. In the middle here, we have Power of the Dream versus Control of the Dream. Power of the Dream says Force of Nature grants an additional stack of Dream Burst. Healing spells cast with Dream Surge generate an additional Dream Petal. And Cenarius' Might increases spell damage or healing by an additional 5%. Cenarius' Might is, of course, the 10% stacking damage and healing increase is now 15%. So that's actually, you see additional 5%, you're like, oh, that's a small benefit. This is 50% more power on Cenarius' Might, so that's a lot. And yeah, Force of Nature granting an additional stack of Dream Burst, and or Healing Surge giving you an additional Dream Petal. So this is actually quite a lot of power in that. The other option is Control the Dream. Time elapsed while your major abilities are available to be used is subtracted from that ability's cooldown after the next time you use it, up to 5 seconds. What a sentence. So this basically means that you don't get punished for not pressing your CD on CD. As long as you press it within 5 seconds of it coming off CD, you will still get those 5 seconds. And if you press it 7 seconds later, you're still going to get 5 seconds of cooldown reduction. So that's sick. It affects Nature Swiftness, Tree of Life, Force of Nature, Celestial Alignment, and Convoke the Spirits. So this is going to be real. There's some fights as well. Fights like Razageth, where you're just like, it's a little awkward and you have to press buttons really precisely to get them used on CD. In those fights, now you're going to have much less strife, right? If you previously would have had a lot of difficulty if you missed your cooldown by 2 seconds, you're not anymore. But this might open up a new set of fights now where your cooldown now needs to be pressed perfectly on cooldown exactly 5 seconds off after it came off cooldown so that you can get it the next time, right? And like, that's still going to be a thing that can happen. But that's a really cool line of text. That's really cool. Yeah, neato. The notable thing here is that if you are actually able to just press them exactly on cooldown, or within a global, it's giving you a lot less value. So it's a very niche effect there. Power of the Dream probably going to be the more default version here, but this is a neat line of text for sure. Over here we have Blooming Infusion. Every 5 regrowths you cast makes your next Wrath, Starfire, or Entangling Roots instant and increase the damage it deals by 100%. Every 5 Star Surges or Starfalls makes your next Regrowth or Entangling Roots instant. Okay, so a little bit of kind of hybrid power. The fact that both of them target Entangling Roots as well will be nice in any situation where you ever want to cast that. But mostly this is just going to give you a little bit of free damage as a Resto Druid, and easier off healing if you need it as a Moonkin. And notably, again, this will make Regrowth into a instant cast, movable, like you can cast while moving, and it's going to give you this 8% DR on you as well, which that's a lot of value. I mean, this is definitely nice for high-end content. Finally, at the very bottom of the tree, we have Harmony of the Grove. Each of your Force of Nature treants increases damage your spells deal by 3% while active. Okay, this is definitely something that maybe is going to move us back towards early spring, away from Bounteous Bloom. And the other option is, or the Resto version of this, is each of your Grove Guardians increases your healing done by 3% while active. So yeah, just further incentivizing you to have these full uptime, which there are things that interact with. It's a little bit of an interesting tree because there's a few of these choices that kind of give you options between uptime and power of your forces. I mean, I guess there's this choice node giving you choice between uptime and power, but then there's a lot of other stuff in the tree that rewards you just for uptime. So that's going to make the early spring option more appealing kind of intuitively. I don't know what's going to be more powerful, obviously especially for balance, you'll be able to sim it. For Resto, it might be more situational, which these you need depending on the damage pattern, the incoming damage pattern. But yeah, I think a pretty nifty tree. I don't know, Keeper of the Grove, intuitively, like when I first saw the different hero talent, this was one of the first ones they kind of revealed. Actually, one of the ones they revealed more at BlizzCon than the others. And this was one that I looked at and I was kind of like, Force of Nature and Grove Guardians are two abilities that just haven't been super fun buttons for me. So a hero talent tree built around them was a little bit less appealing. But I will say this actually looks pretty cool. This looks like a pretty sweet hero talent tree so far. So I at least like the look of it. I'm not a Resto Druid or a Moonkin main though. So if you are one of those, or if you just are also somebody who likes to have opinions about things and stuff, let me know what those are down in the comments below. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.